So we are just talking about examinations, and we are saying the only way a person can write an exam is when they have examination slip. Apart from the examination slip, you need to have a valid student ID. Without these two things, you cannot write the exam. And we also said without passing the continuous assessment, you cannot write the exam. And we are saying that for mathematics, the continuous assessment is out of 30%, meaning that the other percentage, 70%, is from the final exam. For physics, chemistry, and biology, the continuous assessment is out of 40, meaning that the final exam is only 60%. So if you fail the continuous assessment, according to the university regulations, you will not be allowed to write the exam. Although I've seen most of the times they've not been communicating for those who failed the continuous assessments. They've just been writing the exams. But according to the rules, no one who fails is supposed to write the exam. And no one who is not registered is supposed to write the exam. So these are some things which will refuse someone from writing the exams. Without an examination slip, without a student ID, without passing the CA and not being registered, these things you will not be able to write the exams. So we are saying for mathematics, you are going to have test one. That should be somewhere March, April, or May, depending how fast you move. Test one is going to be out of 10%. This is 10% of the final exam. And then you are going to have also quiz one just in the first semester. Like quiz one will just be more like on sets, SADs, complex numbers, binary operations. I think just those. That is going to be out of, that's a 5%. And then in the second semester, when you close in June for 2 weeks and then open, you are going to have test two, which is also 10%, and then quiz two, that is going to be 5%. So this is going to give 30% of the final exam. When it comes to biology, chemistry, and physics, you are going to have labs. Labs are out of 15%. You are going to have test one, which is 10%. You are going to have test two, which is also 10%. You are also going to have assignments in some of these. For biology, you are going to have quiz one and quiz two. That is, each is out of 2.5. So the quizzes, quiz one and quiz two, those are going to give you 5%. This gives you 40%. But for chemistry, you don't have any quiz. So that means one of these is going to be increased. Unless if they give you an assignment, that is what is going to give you this 5%. For physics, you're going to be you write a lot of quizzes. They can be even up to 8 quizzes. Maybe if you just go for a tutorial, you don't even know, your tutor will just come, no learning, a quiz, a surprise quiz. Maybe just the first time that you reach at school without even learning anything. You just go for a tutorial. You just find yourself in a quiz. So that's how it is for physics. So make sure that you are well set as you even get to go for school because of these surprises that can be given. Okay, so that is something on the examination. Yes, Joyce.
So how is the grading system at UNZA?
The what?
The grading system as in A plus, B plus, how are those things done? Like
Okay.
from which
The way the grading system is that 90 to 100 is A plus. And then you've got 80 to 89, which is an A. You have got that 70 to 79, which is a B plus, and then 60 to 69, that is a B, and then you have got 50, that's a 55 to 59, which is a C plus, and then 50 to 54, which is a C. You have got that a 44, 46 or 45 to 49, which is a D plus, and then below that, like 40, 44 to, is it a 0? That is a D, which is a fail. So in the at UNZA, when you have got 1D plus, in some programs, you can be asked or you can be allowed to write an examination, uh, a supplementary exam. Only 1D plus, meaning if you have got 4 courses, it's only in one course that you've gotten a D. You can write a sub. And then if you have got 2D pluses, you can also be allowed to write a sub. But if you have got 2Ds, you'll not be allowed. And it's not in all programs. Like in medicine, you don't have subs. So if you just fail, if you just have a D even in one course, it means you have to repeat the whole year. You have to repeat to first year. So you need to make sure that you don't get to fail. And of course, maybe the grading system might change depending with the academic year or something like that. Okay, so when you get to, we are still talking about the exam. When you get to step in the examination room, just the same rules that we know, 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after, when you enter the exam room, you are not supposed to leave until after the first 30 minutes and before the last 30 minutes you can leave. And also, you are supposed to be in the exam like before 30 minutes. You reach there before in the examination venue. Of course, even if you come late, like 30 minutes, they are going to allow you to enter. But they will not add for you anytime. So make sure that you get to go. If there are some courses where you're supposed to use a calculator, you just don't go with any calculator. You need to certify a calculator. They are going to give you a certificate of certification that you have to go with the name of the calculator that you're supposed to use in some courses. In mathematics, you don't use a course, but in biology, physics, and chemistry, you can go with that calculator. Even in DME, you can go with it with this certificate of calculator. So without certifying your calculator, you might not be allowed to use any calculator in the exam. Now, if, for example, you've done anything that is against the standards, or maybe they caught you with a leakage, or they caught you with doing something that you're not supposed to do in the exam, and they chase you out of the exam, you can appeal. You can write an appeal letter to the dean of, I mean, to the vice chancellor. And this letter that you are writing, it shouldn't be more than 30 days. So in the first 30 days that you've been chased away from the exam, you can write to the vice chancellor stating the reasons and something. Maybe you want to write the exam that you are refused to write. So any malpractice is very dangerous. You'll be chased from the exam and all the other papers you might be refused to write. It might not just end there. They might even give you such dismissals that they even involve the police. So make sure that never to involve in any exam malpractice. So there are also deferred exams. So deferred exams, these are exams that are written when you missed. So like at the University of Zambia, any test that you miss, any quiz that you miss, you always be given a second chance to write it. So when you get to miss a quiz or a test or the exam, you are supposed to write to the dean of school. So the dean of school of that course that you missed. Okay. So when you get to write to the dean of school, they might allow you to write an exam if you miss, for example, on medical grounds, or maybe something just happened and you couldn't write. So you can write a deferred exam. And also you can write a supplementary exam. As I said, a supplementary exam is written when someone failed the actual exam. If you are the 1D or 2D pluses, you can be allowed to write a sub. And for you to do this, you need to also write to ask if you are able to. I mean, if you've passed, but you just have a D in one course or 2D pluses. But it's not in every school that they allow supplementary exams. That's also you need to pay attention. School of medicine, you don't write supplementary exams. Okay, there are some rules and regulations that a student has to know, and also some possible punishments if you get to go against them. Of course, at UNZA, what is common is the three F's: don't fail, don't fight, don't fish. There's Goma Lakes at UNZA. Don't fish, even if the fish jumps on your feet. Don't fish. But those are not the only rules. Of course, those are the common things which people are not supposed to do. You are not supposed to fight for any reason. Don't fail for any reason, and don't fish for any reason, because you are going to be chased home. Now, one of these rules and regulations for the university, the first one, any sexual harassment is not allowed. Any sexual harassment, if anyone has been reported for sexual harassment, one, the penalty is you are going to be suspended from the university for 1 semester. So if they chase you for 1 semester, you are going to miss everything, and you come in the second semester, meaning that if you miss the quizzes and the tests, you'll not be allowed to write them. That means if it is to pass, then the probability of you passing the final exam is going to be very small. And well, if you've been chased in the second semester, meaning that you are going to come the next academic year, what does that mean? You have to repeat the year because you didn't write the exam. You can't proceed to the next year. So you'll be chased from school for sexual harassment for 1 academic year. That would be a suspension. I mean, for 1 semester. And then the other thing is any forced sexual activity or rape. If you do anything forced or rape, you are going to be expelled from school. You will not come back. This one is very serious. It is expulsion. If you are reported for raping someone. And then the other thing is fighting. And this is fighting for any reason. If you get to fight, you are going to be suspended from school for 1 academic year, meaning you are going to go, you are going to come after 1 academic year, and that means you are going to repeat in the same year in which you were. Apart from fighting, threatening violence, abusive language, and insulting or such activities, you are going to be suspended for 1 semester. So you need to know the offense and also the punishment. So abusive language, threatening violence, insulting, 1 semester. Other people insult, like if you go to the hostels, you are going to find people insulting, like real insults. People drink anyhow, and like everyone lives the kind of life that they want. Of course, they don't insult where the principal officers we talked about are the vice chancellor, the deputy vice chancellor, and those people. Otherwise, if they catch you doing that, they might chase you. But it is common in the hostels. People insult, people threaten each other, and those things are very common in the hostels. So the other thing is presenting a copyright material without permission or without authority is a very serious offense. You are going to be expelled from the University of Zambia. This means that, for example, you've been given an assignment and then you get just something which was done by someone. You present it as if you are the one who has done it. If you are reported, you are going to be expelled from UNZA and you'll be expelled for good. Apart from that, inciting students or conspiring with fellow students. So you are conspiring so that you go against any rule of the school. This is a very serious offense, and the punishment is that you are going to be suspended from school for 1 academic year. Of course, if you the previous president for Unzasu, the student union president, was suspended for 1 academic year. Even the current one was suspended for 1 academic year. They still came back. They started campaigning. They even voted. So these offenses, of course, they'll suspend you, but you still come back, and that means you are going to come back in the same year you're supposed to go. You left, even if they suspended you for 2 academic years. If you come back, you'll still be in the same year that you left. So that is also serious. Now, riotous behavior also, and also vandalism, destroying anything, is very serious. You are going to be expelled from school, and when you're expelled, you go back and you go for good. So that is also a very serious offense. Now, apart from these, some rules that you should be able to know, there are some common queries that you are going to be in as you get to stay at school. For example, you get to miss grades, your money is not showing on the portal, maybe you are given accommodation, the room is not showing, So how do you get to resolve some of those queries? So when you are at school, some queries that you are able to find. So for example, you want to change school. You are maybe in the school of medicine. You want to go maybe to the school of to another school, different school, maybe to engineering or something like that. What are you supposed to do? For you to be able to change school, you need to appeal to the dean. Okay, dean of school where you want to go. Appeal to the dean of the school where you want to go. You write a letter why you want to change. I've got a friend who was in the school of medicine. When he passed his first year, he wanted to change to computer science. So he had to write a letter of appeal to the school he wanted to go to, and he changed. So you are able to change when you want to change the school. So apart from that, if you want to change a mode of study, for example, those who are doing education, there is distance education where someone gets to learn online. They don't go to the main campus. If you want to change the mode of study, you can also appeal. And what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to write a letter to the dean or the director of the school you want, okay, or the school in which you are. So you need to write a letter to the dean or the director, and then they are going to get to accept you, and you can change the mode of study. You can come to full time if you are learning maybe part time. So you are able to change like that. And also, if you want to change quota or you want to change program in the same school, for example, you might be in the school of education, you are doing another program. Maybe what you are doing is education with science with education. Maybe you want to go to mathematics or something like that. You can apply. Now, what are you going to do in such a case? You are going to appeal to the dean or the director of that same school in which you are to say, I want to change the program in this same school. Okay, maybe you are in the school of medicine, you want to change from surgery, you want to go maybe to, let's say, biomedicine. So you can also apply to the dean of school. Now, if you want to change grades, maybe your grades are missing or you just want to change grades, what are you supposed to do? So you're supposed to write to the dean, and the dean, so you need to write to the dean, and the dean is going to inform the vice chancellor to ask for authority if they're supposed to change the grades. After that happens, if they've seen that indeed your grades are missing or indeed something was wrong, they are now going to be able to change the grades. Of course, these are the standards through which the university operates, but it might not be the case or the reality when you go there. For example, if the grades are missing, you might not go to the dean because the dean is tired. You just ask maybe a lecturer or maybe tutors, and then they're going to be able to change. But these are the regulations, or that is a protocol to follow. Okay. Now, if a student withdraws from studies, for example, as you said, you want to withdraw from studies and you are accepted, you withdraw from studies. You can also apply if you withdraw, but you think like when you withdraw, you're only allowed to withdraw for one academic year. So you have withdrawn for one academic year and the academic year has finished. You can be allowed to, you can be given permission to extend for one other academic year. So you can only go to for a maximum of 2 academic years, and this you can do it through the dean of students. So you apply to the dean of students that you want to continue with another academic year. For example, you have maybe a consistency in sickness, or maybe you don't have enough money, so you can apply to the dean of students. But if you go beyond 2 academic years without coming back to school, you withdrew and then you went for more than one academic year, that is 2 academic years without coming back, then you have to go and apply or ask the vice chancellor when you want to come back. Beyond 2 academic years, the one who is in control is not the dean but the vice chancellor. Okay. So a student who was suspended, for example, if you are suspended from school because of an offense and you are suspended maybe for one academic year and you've already served, the whole academic year has finished and you are supposed to go back. what happens is that the dean of students is going to write to you a letter to inform you that you have already served your punishment. You can go back to school. So it is not you to write. You are going to receive a letter if you are suspended. All right. And now let's look at accommodation. These are some common queries. What of accommodation? So you need to know that admission to university doesn't mean you are going to be accommodated. So accommodation is another different part that you have to apply. So when applying to accommodation, you are going to apply to the dean of students. So just the online thing you are submitting today, you are submitting to the dean of students. And the dean of students are going to select those people who are going to be given rooms. Now, if you have got a room but it is not showing on your portal, you have to write also to the dean of students for them to be able to change. Of course, it might not be in reality that you are going to write. You can also go and visit the offices for the dean of students. Okay. Now, there's also what is called course overload. For example, you want to take more than the courses you are supposed to do. For example, you are maybe in second year, you want also to take the courses in third year, such that you write them just in advance, and then instead of you going to third year, you go to fourth year. You are able to do that. That is on the course overload. Okay, the other thing is you can write to the dean or the director of the school if you want to avoid a course overload. You want to add more courses than you are taking. All right. Again, if the information is wrong on your student information system, you feel maybe the name or the computer number is not correct, you can write to the deputy registrar. So when you get to write to the Deputy Registrar Academic Affairs, attaching also a certified copies of things like your NRC, then information is going to be changed. Yes, Arnold.
I had a question like the tests, are they online or what? Or physical? The
The
test like
the tests are now online. There are some courses which are supposed to be written I mean the tests are now physical. There are some tests which used to go on online, but they've cancelled online tests for now because they say like Moodle crashes. Just like those who are applying for accommodation today, some were not able to apply because it was showing that you can't apply or the network was very bad because a lot of people are applying. So because of that, tests do not go on well online. But you can some will give you online ones. But for now, it will be all physical unless otherwise. So again, another thing is if a course is not showing on your student information system, you have to write to the assistant dean of the school or the HOD of the school or the program. I mean, the head of department of the school. You get to write to them that this course is not showing, and then they're going to be able to correct that. That can happen also just during your registration. You find that the courses you're supposed to do on the your system is not showing. So if it is not showing, then what are you supposed to do? You are going to approach the HOD or the dean of the school. Now, if the results are withheld, for example, you didn't pay or maybe you had an offense and then the results are not showing, what you're supposed to do is you need to clear the offense or you need to clear the balance. If you clear the balance, then you can visit the academic affairs office or you can visit the customer care or you can visit the assistant registrar of the school and then they can give you your results. So these are some things that you're supposed to do as you get to stay at home.